Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Debates Among Friends, Rick and Morty recap. It always is a good time for a drink, and we will provide co-calculated speeches with sinister overtones. A speech about politics, about order, and power. The speeches are for campaignings, and this is the recap show. I am your host, the Professor John Gotti, and always by my side, the bane of Chris's existence, we have the Duke.
How are you, sir?
I am hype. What an episode! This episode broke the internet.
That it did. It is. I don't. Words cannot describe.
Like to
6 hours.
Like to a point to where I couldn't even refresh Twitter. Like nothing would update.
Well, it was funny because 3 hours after it came out, it was already being hailed as the greatest episode to date.
I mean,
yeah, that sounds like a matter of debating, and that's what we do here.
And that's what we do here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so before we get into whether or not this is the best episode of the entire series, as most people are saying, or of season 3, let's recap what happened in the episode. Title of the episode is the Ricklantis Mixup, and they decided to
actually that was changed from the original lineup.
It was. It was actually ended up calling. It ended up being called Tales from the Citadel.
Yes. So a little misdirection there.
Which is perfect because we called that one.
Yes. This is true.
We said either we were going to get, we had to wait 2 weeks for it, so you knew something big was going to happen. It wasn't just going to be a normal episode like the Body Jurassic Theme Park episode. It's not going to be that. We know it wasn't going to be that. So
this is true. But it also begs the question as to whether it was a good episode on its own standing, or whether it was a good episode because we had to wait 2 weeks for it. Yeah. It's kind of like that cap gun that you got on Christmas that you've been waiting for since Easter. And you played with for about 2 hours before you realized, man, this is stupid. Kind of that feeling.
Wow. We're gonna debate that question as well too. Those are definitely two big hot topic questions that we'll talk about. But first, let's talk about the plot. Start off with Rick and Morty. Get ready to head out to Atlantis. All decked out in swim gear, ready to go. And they get stopped before they get a chance to go into the adventure by another Rick and Morty from a different dimension.
Yes.
Asking to fund the rebuild of the Citadel, which of course they promptly denied. Rick was absolutely hilarious in that part as well too.
Yes, and he reminded the guy that he was the one that destroyed it.
Yes. It's like, do you not know who I am? I'm the one who blew it up. That was
yeah, that's right.
So the scene cuts to a fully developed, functioning Citadel.
Well, for the most part.
And then we start getting a lot of these references to movies and political life and, real world issues that we as Americans are dealing with.
That is true. And this show is notorious for its references and Easter eggs, but I appreciated the social commentary and satire that was sprinkled into this one in particular.
Yes, absolutely.
It made the whole episode a little bit darker, a little more real, without being super dark, if that makes any sense.
I think it was dark because we all know how real the topic was during the episode.
This is true. And anytime that this really being the second time, but so far, every time that we have flashed back to the aftermath of one of Rick and Morty's adventures, it is usually from the standpoint of the person who got kicked as Rick was jumping through the portal.
Yes.
It is always from that perspective. It is never we go back to things being better than they were. No.
Yeah,
never.
This is the first. This is the first.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, not really confirmed whether or not this was the same time frame. Was it, before and after? Which there's a lot of theories about. There's been theories up the goulashes since this episode came out. Like, seriously.
Oh yeah.
Like, it is absolutely everywhere.
This episode was like Paul Wall, and it's got the internet going nuts.
Yes. So there are 3 story arcs within this episode. We had the Training Day homage, which they did a great job. Like, all 3 of them did a great job.
It was 4 of them.
It was?
Yeah.
It was the Training Day reference. It was the Stand By Me reference. It was the Willy Wonka reference. And what was the 4th one?
The essentially Manchurian Candidate, the actual election reference.
Well, I mean, do we want to call that one a story arc, or is that just a setup towards the main story arc?
A little bit of both. We get introduced to Evil Morty in this very mainstream story from season 1, but we haven't seen him since then, and so we can only hypothesize what he has been up to. And this is kind of a glimpse into
if you haven't watched the episode yet, spoilers alert.
I mean, that's very true.
You forgot to use candidate Morty until we get to the reveal.
Well, and that, yeah. At this point,
as they call it, politician Morty, which is available in your pocket Morty. Make sure you pick it up on your iOS and Android devices.
I'm still looking for that lawyer, Morty. Oh, look at him go!
Look at my feet. Watch my feet.
No, I don't want to see your paw collection. But yeah, we do get a look into this Citadel in the aftermath of the Rick Shank redemption.
Yes.
And what ends up happening to all the Ricks and Mortys now as they try to rebuild the Citadel in the wake of the Galactic Federation collapsing. And it is very interesting to see it feels really off saying this about a cartoon, but the kind of socio-economic climate that has gripped the Citadel with the entire council being assassinated by Rick.
Which probably the best part of the entire, like, the whole last, let's say, 3 minutes of the episode, like, someone was able to get that whole part as a clip on YouTube, and I have yet to stop watching it.
I might just have to download it to my phone whenever I need a little pick-me-up. Between that, Lawyer Morty, the Cromulons, that might have to be my go-to.
So let's explore the 4 story arcs. Starting with the first one. The Training Day one, where we have do you want to call him Green? You want to call him Nice Rick?
We can call him Green. We can call him Rookie Rick.
Rookie Rick, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Although they call him Cop Rick, but Rookie Rick sounds way better.
Oh, yeah.
Rookie Rick is getting picked up on his, I guess you could call it their, what the cops call it.
On his first day of patrol.
There it is, his patrol. And the window rolls down, and it is a fat Morty.
Yes.
And
A
Rick
fat,
says,
older Morty.
a fat.
Oldish.
Okay. Okay. And Rick was absolutely surprised to see a Morty driving the car.
Yes, I believe the exact quote from Cop Morty was, "What were you expecting? A Rick partner?"
Get the.
Which, obviously is a that Training Day reference.
Yes.
Playing in once again. But yeah, just to kind of break down this section from beginning to end, we ride around on their patrols. The first call they get is for a convenience store robbery.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they respond, and Cop Morty, being a little more grizzled, a little more fed up with the job, has this very take no prisoners approach to policing that we
attitude.
Exactly. And he basically spots two Mortys. Oh, and let me back up in this. Getting back to that whole socioeconomic climate.
Yep.
All of these crimes go down in what is called Morty Town. Which is basically, yes, it is basically the slums, the hood, the ghetto, the whatever you want to call it, the tenements. It is where all the Mortys on the Citadel have now elected to reside to get away from the Ricks, since there is no more order. Yeah, so Cop Morty spots two other Mortys tagging a wall across the street from the convenience store, goes to question them, things go a little sideways, he ends up jamming his gun in one of their mouths. And they, yes, and they give up that it was the Morty Town Locos that robbed the gas station, which, can I just say, I am so waiting for a real gang to come out with that name. Like, even if you're not an actual criminal gang, like, just let it be a tricycle gang. I don't care. I just want to see it on a jacket.
Don't be surprised if you hear that being a pitched idea for our esports team by the doctor soon.
Hey, the Morty Town Locos, I'm down.
No!
Let's get some sponsorship.
No!
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Chris, I want some mock-ups by the end of the show.
No!
No,
it's not happening! It's not happening.
See that? See that right there? That's the power of fear. Anywho's, so locals are known to hang out at, and we see a very, very strung out Rick in this room with three tatted up Mortys, and the Mortys are watching a newscast of the election while strung out Rick is mixing some sort of fluid in the background. Cop Morty bust in. Everybody starts to freak out, and I guess strung out Rick decides that he's going to use what has been identified as bootleg portal fluid to get the frack out of there. But apparently his math was off because it vaporized him.
Yeah, he should have carried that one.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, math, that is important right there. I think one of my favorite references in the whole episode was what ends up happening next, where Rick breaks off from Morty, goes to a back room in the building, and spots a Morty completely covered in filth and piss in this room with taped up windows and a crib in the corner.
Yep.
And he kind of plays on Rick's heartstrings, and Rick ends up, picking him up to take him out of the building, and the Morty flips on him and stabs him in the back.
Yo,
literally.
That part right there, I was like, this is getting dark real fast. I'm like, up to then it was a little dark, but not like intense. But I was like, oh snap. Oh snap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it almost made me watch Training Day after the episode, but I realized I had to go to bed so I can.
Be a productive member of society. Yeah.
I have to try.
But yeah, Rick ends up flipping him off, shooting him, and Morty runs back to check on his partner. Rick explains the situation. Morty sends him out to the car to go tend to his wounds, and next thing we know, Morty's walking out of a building that is being disintegrated. Rick asks him what's going on, and we get probably my third favorite line in the whole episode.
All right.
Same old story, man. Morty's killing Mortys. I was like, once again, with the Training Day references. I was like, yes.
I was just like, okay, so it's not the first time someone used something like that in this episode.
This is true. But, then we fast forward. Cop Morty brings Rookie Rick to a club called the Creepy Morty, which is a strip club filled with Mortys. Let that go ahead and set in for a minute. The Creepy Morty is a strip club in Morty Town full of Mortys. John, these strippers. It's weird. No more weird than the little pleasure palace in Golden Folds Dreams.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, which is okay. I would have to say this is probably a little bit more weird.
Just a little bit. Only because, at least all of that stuff came from other genres of the adult entertainment industry, whereas this is just a 14-year-old boy getting it on with himself in every conceivable way. Yeah.
I don't even know if we can say that on I don't even know if we can say that on podcast. Like, that doesn't even sound right.
No. I cleared it with Helen. All the words are good. It's the structure that I was kind of vague on.
Good job, Helen. Way to help him out there. Because
I'm just saying.
I don't know what to say. I still don't know what to say about that whole scene.
Dude, hey, look, I kind of okey-doked Helen on that because,
Hey, you here looking for a good time?
This is also
2 for 25. Your math is wrong.
That's just bad math.
Oh my goodness. So they got into the club and they're sitting down with, I guess we call him Shady.
No, his name was Big Morty.
It was Big Morty.
Yeah.
By the way, Pocket Morty should be like over 1 billion buys right now. Because they're introducing so many new Mortys by the episode.
Yes.
I don't know if people realize that.
And Rick's and Beth's and Jerry's, like, that's what was killing me. This season
Beth's and Jerry's,
has been,
oh my.
Yes, this season has been flooding Pocket Mortys with new characters.
Yep. By the way, Pocket Morty, send money. So they sat down with Big Morty. Cop Morty said, we took care of your little problem. And he got himself a little payoff. Straight up Training Day right here.
Yeah.
Straight up Training Day.
Because Big Morty is just a concerned citizen looking out for the safety and well-being of Morty Town. Yeah. Isn't that how that works?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. I mean, that's what I thought. I just wanted to
it's not like it's not going to bite him in the butt later on. So, Cop Morty tries to give Cop Rick a cut of the pot. Money, not actual pot, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, Cop Rick refuses. Straight up Training Day. Hey, I don't want this. Like, this is dirty money. Like, no, don't do something like that. The entire scene become very tense.
Yeah. as Cop Morty tells his partner, like, "Hey, come on, man, you're gonna mess this up for us. You know, we got a good thing going." And Big Morty reminds him, "No, he's gonna mess it up for you."
Yep. Oh my goodness. And then scuffle happens. You know, a little bit of scuffle. A little bit of scuffle.
You know, that leads into a shootout.
Yeah. Into a Mexican standoff, or how do you say it in Borderlands? Mexican standoff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Which brings me, like, my favorite line from the show, which is a complete throwaway line by a sideline character, but Cowboy Morty. And they're just props. They're just props.
They're just props.
But you know who you don't have to worry about? Cowboy Morty. Because he's going to mosey on out of here.
Oh gosh. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Duchess was so mad at you after this episode ended. Like, as you're falling asleep and you're just like, you know what? You know you don't have to worry about Cowboy Morty because he's mosey on out of here. Just go to sleep.
Yes. So,
oh my goodness.
Our standoff ends with Cop Morty shooting Big Morty and Rookie Rick shooting Cop Morty.
Yes. And here's how I got to that point. In the standoff, you know, Rick is basically telling Cop Morty, telling me that there's a lot of bad Mortys out here. You know, and
you gotta put your faith in the right one.
You need to put your faith in the right one, and I'm trying to put my faith into you. Of course, you know, Cop Morty tried to Machiavelli himself out of the situation by creating some crocodile tears and saying, you know, I don't want to be a cop anymore. I don't want to live in the city there. I just want to be a normal boy, you know, masturbating and stuff.
And playing ball.
And playing ball. Balling! That was for Doc Ocean right there. So then he pops Big Morty. And then he tried to kill Cop Rick, and Cop Morty has met his demise. Shot in the head. Cop Rick walks outside, hands up in surrender. They're like, what happened? And he says, just another case of Rick killing Morty.
Rick's killing Morty. I
loved it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Story 2. Let's do the Willy Wonka one.
Alright.
We had, what was it?
So much to digest.
Rick J22 was his official name. He is a factory worker working in a very Wonka-esque factory that produces Simple Ricks crackers.
Cookie wafers.
Cookie wafers. There's this cookie wafers. I was about to say wafers, but cookie wafers is better. He's, you know, your blue-collar average citizen just trying to make his way up in the world, and, you know, he's been working there for 15 years. We found that out later on in the episode. He got tired. He finally reached his peak when his current manager is moving on to another position, and there's a vacancy in that position. He feels like, you know, he put his work in, he worked hard, you know, the normal American way, just to find out that they gave it to a guy who, A, never worked there before and is just brand freaking new, and B, was designated as Cool Rick. And
yes,
I don't.
And of course, Cool Rick has no regard for the job, the workers, or anything but being cool.
Which totally, you know, real world perspective right there. There's been
exactly. That's that social commentary.
Oh my gosh, like they hit so many themes, and they did it so well. And it's gonna lead to our discussion later about whether or not this is the best. So, after a while, Rick J22, he kind of snaps.
You know, you could say that.
So, he decides to run into his manager's office and pop him a couple of times with a gun, with the same gun that he was using for the actual cookie wafers. Kills him. Then finds his way into a room where Simple Rick, as he's known right now, is sitting there, laying back, and is relishing in a happy thought. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Simple Rick cookie wafers are made of the positive, happy memories of a Rick. That secretes a little fluid that drops down.
Which actually, all right, hold on, sidebar. Because there was a very, very, very interesting theory posted by a Reddit user that said that Simple Rick looks a lot like the past version of Rick that we see in the first episode of this season.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Not only that,
yes,
but then it showed a memory of him and Beth.
Correct.
So it led to a lot of theories about, maybe Rick's memory during the Rick Shaw redemption wasn't really his that he fabricated, but was really another Rick's.
Correct. Like maybe this was the memory that he got eating the Simple Ricks.
Yes.
But I do apologize.
No,
please.
Please. I mean, we also have the chat going crazy because they were asking us a bunch of questions and making comments. Most of them about Chris. You and the doctor kind of started something. Gonna have to talk to y'all one day about that.
Yeah, hey, look, we can sidebar all those. Chris is not important enough for primetime conversation.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. So, he kills his regional manager and finds himself into the Simple Rick's factory flavor core, which the unconscious Simple Rick is. He trapped himself into the room, and SWAT Team Ricks makes an appearance to swarm the building and attempt to negotiate to get him out of the room. In doing so, he negotiated. He said, I want a portal gun, non-registered.
Untraceable.
And untraceable. Like, I want to get out of here. Like, I'm out. I can't do it. So they delivered the portal gun, and which is a stroke of genius because, Rick's on Rick's.
Mm-hmm.
He awakens Simple Rick from his long unconscious state. He actually creates a portal and sends him through the portal, revealing that the dimension the portal gun was set to was to the blundered dimension, which of course led to Simple Rick's death. Oh no! Doc Ocean is in the chat. Oh no! Oh, he told me to say this. He said, "Will someone please punch?"
Of course, afterwards, more than happy to.
Not live, gentlemen. Not live.
Yeah. Because we don't need no witnesses.
Exactly. So, of course, he's like, what, you think I'm stupid? Like, I'm a Rick. What the heck? Of course, SWAT Team Ricks is now going to force their way into the room.
Yes, because he's lost his only leverage.
His only leverage to get out of there alive is gone. So they cut a hole into the door and start rushing in, only to be stopped by Rick D. Sanchez III. Which I kind of wanted to say was... the third part, I immediately thought of Lupin. I immediately thought of, Lupin the Third. And we talked about Lupin the Third a lot.
Yeah, we have. Honestly, I got the Willy Wonka reference right off the top.
Well,
it was all about the cane and the top hat.
It was just more of the name.
Well, that's true. I think it was the third in there that got you.
Yes. That, and plus I think I probably also watched a little bit of Lupin. But that's more on me. That's more on me, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, Rick D. Sanchez III sympathized with Rick J22 and let him go free. He basically said, you've been here 15 years, like he already served his time, and basically said, come with me, and I'll show you the good life. Of course, his coworkers saying, yeah, give them heck, yeah, I'm so proud of you, I'm so happy for you. And as they're walking out, Rick D. Sanchez III's car is sitting out in front of the factory. He gives Rick J22 his car keys, and as Rick is walking towards the car, he gets popped in the back of the head.
Yes, and now he is Simple Rick.
Now he is Simple Rick. They used that happy memory, him getting out of that dead-end job and receiving that brand new car, to create new cookie wafers. Because that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about the cookie wafers and the Cheshire.
Yeah, it's all about the merch and free swag.
Free swag?
Send me free swag.
No, seriously. He's actually that serious.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like, free swag and food. Those are the ways to my heart.
There you go.
Oh, and explosions. But that goes without saying.
Explosions! Sorry, you knew I was going to do it.
This is true.
So that ends part 2.
This is true. The third part is our very Stand By Me story. Dude, like, I loved all the in jokes in that storyline because I was not a huge fan of Stand By Me. I kind of just wanted to get that whole story over with. Yeah, I know, right? Look, I can appreciate it for the class.
You almost caused the riot in the studio.
Dude, that was like the first time I think I've actually seen Helen get upset. Like, that's crazy.
Helen's she's pretty hot right now. I think she just.
I didn't know she was. I didn't know she was a Feld Dog fan.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Well, the story picks up with the Morty school, or I think it's Morty Day Academy is the actual name of it.
Which I don't know about you, but initially I thought of like Harry Potter, but then it like
yes, stopped. and I was getting to that point. The Morty Day Academy is where all of the Mortys without Ricks go to receive better training to better serve their new Ricks. So it's essentially an orphanage that teaches Mortys how to be Morty.
Yes.
Or how to be the ideal. Mortys. Yes. And the headmaster of the school is a very Severus Snape inspired Rick. I mean, he's got the look and everything down to a science. But we get this very kind of ominous intro of all the students marching single file to their classes.
Mm-hmm.
And, we pick up with the day before graduation where all the Mortys are going to find out or get their new Rick assignments.
Yes.
The following day. Which I just loved the sayings that they were learning in this class. It was hilarious to me. That's a great idea, Rick. I'm so happy to be your Morty. Like, seriously? I guess that is kind of school, though.
That is school.
Yeah.
Which, of course, goes back into the whole social theme.
Yep, social commentary at its best. We are taught to regurgitate things until we no longer need them, and then we brain dump them.
Yep.
Yep. But, 4 Mortys in the back, our core characters, decide that they're not going to let their last day at the Morty Academy go down in vain.
Yes.
They are, they want to have an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
They
you have to introduce each of the 4 now.
Oh, yeah. Of course. But, they decide that they're going to leave the school. They're going to have one last adventure as Mortys before they get paired up with their new Ricks. So, we have Lizard Morty, whose previous Rick fused his DNA with the lizard. We have Fat Morty.
Also known as Left-Handed Morty.
That was my favorite, but I'll get to that one here in a minute. We have what was his name? This is really gonna bother me. Crap.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We're also a trivia podcast as well too. So now we're gonna do the questioning part. Give us a clue. Which one are you thinking about? Give us a feature.
Oh, rolled sleeves.
Slick Morty.
Yes. Oh.
Because
I wanted to call him Greaser Morty so bad, but I'm like, no. That's a leather jacket Morty.
Yeah,
like,
that's a leather jacket Morty.
Yeah. And then we have, I guess, what could be called the most normal Morty out the group. Yeah.
Glasses Morty.
But yes. And they sneak out, which was actually in the promo shot or intro shot of each episode this season. And they start off on their adventure. First, they decided they're going to go to the wishing portal. Mm-hmm. This was Slick's idea, who heard it from his last Rick's Morty, who heard it from another Morty, who got it from his third Rick. I was like, wow, this is a lot of hearsay. But, whatever. I guess that's what every great adventure is built on, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So, the next time that we catch up with them, they are attempting to steal a mega seed from presumably the same field that Rick was trying to steal his mega seeds from.
Which just so happened to, be way more populated, compared to the first episode.
This is true. Which actually brings up another theory, that this is not the same field, but that it is simply made to look like a mega seed field, but it is on the Citadel. Because obviously Mortys don't have access to portal guns.
Nope.
It's not like they could actually leave the Citadel to do this. Plus, this particular mega seed farm happened to be owned by a farmer Rick and his robo dog. Which, the scene in and of itself, once again, harkens back to Stand By Me and the whole junkyard scene.
Yep.
Where they get chased out by the owner's dog. But can I also throw out that the robot dog reminds me of K9?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Little dog with wheels for feet. Yeah. That guy. But we fast forward, and they are actually now at a campfire in the middle of the woods. Once again, presumably on the Citadel. And they're all essentially getting personal.
Yeah.
Describing, why they want to go to the wishing portal and what they expect to do with their lives. Which, once again, nice Stand By Me reference. Mm-hmm. Or I shouldn't say reference, because this is almost like a satire of Stand By Me.
This is pretty much a direct homage to Stand By Me.
Yes.
This is no more a reference.
Yes. Where, we find out that Slick has a emotional implant that, as he describes, causes him to suck the fun out of everything. And Glasses
I
Morty.
think that's probably something that his last Rick probably, taught him. I don't think it necessarily does it. I think it's probably more coincidental, but impersonable young men and they're hearing stuff over and over again. The social structure again.
Yeah, exactly. Which is also a good window between him and Lizard Rick of what these Ricks just do to their Mortys. Because even our Morty had micro nanites inserted into his bloodstream to turn him into a car.
Yep.
Without his prior knowledge or approval.
Nope.
So, yeah, we know that Rick's experimental and sometimes even torture than Morty's. So, yeah, it was a nice little throwaway. But it actually ended with probably my favorite line from the show, hands down, that makes me giggle every time I hear it. When Fat Morty gets called out as Fat Morty, and he looks to Lizard Rick and he's like, I thought I was left-handed, Morty. Lizard Rick immediately and with no emotion replies, well, you should use your left hand to eat more vegetables. I was like, that is probably the coldest burn in this entire show. Only because there was no malice behind it. Nope. Like, he was just being factual. Like, maybe you should just use your left hand to eat more vegetables. I don't know. Oh, hilarity. But we fast forward once again to the point where these young men have now made it to the wishing portal. Mm-hmm. And as they are all standing around, they get told by Slick Morty that they have to essentially give up something that means a lot to them in order for their wish to come true. Fat Morty gives up his panini maker, or panini press, and wishes for a place with 1,000 sandwiches.
I think it was about 1 million, but yeah.
Yeah. Irony!
Doc Ocean is happy about that one.
Yeah.
He is trolling our chat stream, by the way.
Love it. You know, Lizard Morty gives up his surfer necklace. And, I forget exactly what glasses Morty gives up.
He dropped a piece of technology.
Ah, yes, thank you. And, you know, Slick pretty much reminds them in true Morty fashion that Morty wishes never come true. This is pointless. And, you know, all the guys are pretty much...
You didn't say what glasses Morty wanted to wish for.
Because I actually forgot what glasses Morty was so ghost to me that I have forgotten his entire role.
This one added a huge depth of character to him. He wished for incest porn to become more mainstream. ...
You know, for a friend of his. Yeah, because apparently somewhere out there is a Morty who wants to get it on with either Beth or Summer. just wow. I'm wishing for the simpler days of Sleepy Gary.
Doc Ocean is trolling so hard that he actually logged on to the Debate Friends YouTube channel to post a comment.
What's the comment?
He said, the doc says... Oh yeah, he also did a heel turn. I'm not trolling. I'm literally researching. You guys are talking. As you guys are talking, this is not Sir Troll a lot. He's having a lot of fun.
You know, that's true.
Probably shouldn't be using the wrong account to make comments. But that, live TV, moving on.
Yeah, no.
So Slick Morty is still sad and, you know, expresses wishes. His wish is for, you know, life to change for the Mortys.
Yeah. Right. And after he gets to make a wish anyway.
Yes. And they say, well, what are you going to use to throw in it for your wish? Whee!
Exactly. Which I actually felt like was the biggest turn of character for the Mortys in general. Was that, you know, he hoped that he too put something valuable in the wishing portal as he threw himself into it.
Yes.
Which was kind of sad. Like, this whole deep episode had, it was
pretty deep.
Emotional value
showing that Slick Rick had nothing of value to give other than his own life.
You know,
also,
which is,
you know, social conversations.
Exactly. Kind of harkens back to biblical days in a sense. But this whole episode kind of stunted me.
I think he just stopped our stream.
Oh, the intranet has crashed. and it's burning.
Okay, we're back live, ladies and gentlemen.
Whew. Man.
He just said that he didn't. I guess it was Chris's fault. I don't know. Something happened. Someone touched it.
I mean, look, we just blame it on Chris and keep it pushing. That's worked so far, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But yes, we get the morning news at the Citadel, and it's kind of a really brief recap of what has been going on at the Citadel post Rick Shank redemption, where all the council members are deceased, and so now they are having open elections for a president of the Citadel. No longer gone are the days of the council. Now it will be a singular president that will represent.
Oh, we got confirmation that it was Chris who cut it off.
Ah, that guy.
He was quick to blame Doc Ocean because he was in the account.
You know, one of these days I'm gonna slap him with a T-bone.
I got nothing on that one. I can't make a comment on that one. That was so random.
I mean,
I'm actually kind of curious to see him actually do this, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, I'm pretty good with a piece of steak. I can kill it, grill it, slap Chris in the head with it. You know, jack of all trades.
We're just gonna move on. Let's keep talking about the election. Let's do that.
That's fair.
Wow.
But what was hilarious to me is, you know, we get kind of a brief snapshot of the candidates, which for anyone who watched this last election cycle, you will almost immediately notice every last satirical Rick that was being represented, from retired General Rick to juggling Rick.
Yep.
To I know I'm gonna get them confused, so I'm not even gonna touch those. But you know, we pretty much every major politician from that last cycle was represented.
Yes, there was the racist Rick. There was the
Rick-hating Rick.
Yep. And then there was the Donald Trump-esque Rick.
Yeah, that's right, private sector Rick.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know, they were all.
You got yourself into that one.
But you know, then we pan over to what is almost a side story for this newscast, and we have a Morty running from the Morty Party.
Yes.
And you know, all of the Ricks have already written him off at this point.
Oh, they didn't even give him a chance. Not even written him off. They sat there and demeaned him. They smeared it. It was pretty much just like real life.
Yeah.
It was almost very Fox News-like.
Potato, tomato.
I went there, Fox News. I went there.
But, you know, what was very funny to me is this newscast ends with politician Morty, or candidate Morty, and his campaign manager Morty at headquarters watching this newscast, with his campaign manager basically telling them, like, dude, like, it's done. You've done a great thing for all Mortys, but you're not going to win, so you should just hang it up. Candidate Morty is essentially like, well, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good about the debate tonight. You know, let's see how it plays out.
Letting it ride. Letting it
ride on 6. But so we snap over to the actual debate, and of course we get, once again, all of the tropes that were just infamous from this past election cycle, from, juggling Rick explaining his his plan to restabilize the Citadel with juggling balls and a chainsaw, to retired General Rick basically saying, "We need more lasers." Period. That's it.
It's always reminded me of that one character from Family Guy. He was like, "Smoke." Are you smoking yet?
Hilarious. Retired General Rick, how would you stabilize the Citadel if you were elected?
Well,
lasers. You have more time to answer the question if you need to. Okay, moving on.
I love the fact that we both stayed silent too.
That's exactly how it went. Yeah, and then we, after a few fart jokes, switch over to...
That happened during this next part.
Yes. I apologize. We switch over to candidate Morty for his, 5 seconds on how he would restabilize the Citadel. And in true Rick fashion, they don't even give him a chance to speak.
No, I think they was asking him for solutions to the social divide between the Ricks and the Mortys, and then he was mocked. Yes. Even the moderator was mocking him as he was asking the question.
Exactly, because in looking at it from a broad picture, just the fact that the whole election is being controlled by Ricks,
yes,
says a lot about not only the climate of the Citadel, but the satire that it is representing.
It's almost like the past election.
And it was actually, it was fairly deep for Rick and Morty. Like, absolutely. They've had a couple like surrealist moments. But in all seriousness, I don't think that they've had any one moment or even any one episode that took itself quite as seriously as this one.
Yes. I mean, there were certain moments where it was pretty serious, like Rick trying to commit suicide and right. Morty telling Summer that he eats next to his own grave.
Yes, no one exists on purpose.
Yes.
Which actually makes another reference in this one. It was actually a sign being carried by one of the Mortys for the Morty Pride Parade. Yeah.
More social conversations.
Dude. Yes, he gives a very rousing speech about how every Rick is his Rick and he can see every Morty as himself, and basically the Citadel is only divided by the Ricks and Mortys that want to keep it divided. And he basically galvanizes the Citadel behind him in this one speech. And he, ends up winning the election behind it.
Jumping ahead a little too much. There's something else that happened. So post-speech, he walks back, and his campaign manager was like, I can't believe...
Actually, yeah.
You're skipping major plots in this story right now.
that I am. Like, dude, I'm excited, man. What the heck?
I know you want to get to the end, but we gotta build up to the climax, sir.
This is why I like grenades.
Anyways. And Helen, I mean, I could take that in a very, very, sexual way, but we're not going to do that right now.
Yeah, hey. No, me and Helen have a dinner date Friday. Any oozles. But yes,
Wait, did you just say
walks
that
back
out in the air? Uh-oh.
Nope. I don't even know what you're talking about. Anywho, so candidate Morty walks backstage after his speech, with the whole Citadel basically cheering him on, and his campaign manager, he of little faith, pretty much is extremely proud of him and is like, dude, I'm so sorry, I didn't know.
I didn't think you were able to pull this off. This is almost impossible. Like, oh my gosh. He's like, I'm glad you feel that way, and you're fired.
Yes.
I was like,
which,
yeah.
You know, was kind of my first red flag because it reminded me a lot of the Morty that we saw in the previous episode. We'll call him No Conscious Morty.
They call him Healthy Morty.
What's that?
They called him Healthy Morty.
Okay. Yeah, that one's up for debate. But, you know, Healthy Morty towards the conclusion of his American Psycho run, where pretty much nothing was going to get in his way, or in the way of what he wanted. That was kind of a red flag for me. I'm like, dude, oh, okay, it's a little dark, but we've seen Morty get dark before, so yeah, whatever. We'll skip that one.
Ethan,
but
your s'mores are burning.
You know, pretty much for the Look Who's Purging Now episode. Yeah, everybody forgot about that one. I don't know how you can forget about Morty capping fools in the head while Tony's Feel Good is playing in the background. That was probably some of the best 5 minutes of animation I've seen in my life.
Alright, so he just got canned. He was immediately offered a job by juggling Rick, and it was
correct. At the point that we come back, campaign manager Morty is sitting in a bar, basically drinking his sorrows away. What exactly he's drinking, I don't know, but apparently it's very watered down. And while he's in this bar, he gets approached by a trench-coated Rick. We'll call him Secret Rick.
No, he's a Deep Throat Rick.
Ah, there we go.
You see what I did there?
And Helen is a reference, all right? I know
that
you were alive back then.
She's still sitting in her office right now. She knows better.
I'm just saying. So, and I like the banter between the two of them. He's like, oh, what is this? It's secrets, duh. Why do you think I'm dressed like this? Just, yeah, hilarity. And whatever it is that is in this folder
shakes him to his core.
Exactly. And has inspired him to come back and confront his previous boss.
Yes. Who is making a lot of strides in this campaign. He just got finished walking out of a rally, you know, shaking Rick's hands and kissed a cloned Rick.
Yes. Hey Morty, I cloned myself so you can kiss me as a baby. Yes. Which is actually, and I'm so mad that I missed this, or skipped it, I should say, but it is the second time that we've seen this kind of age role reversal between Rick and Morty in this episode specifically.
Yes.
We see it with Tall Rick, aka, or Tall Morty, aka Slow Rick.
Yep.
At the Morty Day Academy, and we see it now with this Rick baby that Morty goes, oh, looks just like a Morty baby. The fact that you even have to say, like, we can't just go, oh, it's a human baby, or oh, it's a sentient. Like, no.
Nope, it's a baby.
Yes,
baby,
it's a Morty.
it's what for dinner.
But this is when we see campaign manager Morty again, who pops up in the crowd.
Shakes his hand. They shake each other's hands. He's asking like how he's doing and things like that, making sure he got himself a new job or whatever like that.
Yes, and you know, campaign manager Morty goes, yeah, I did get a new job, assassinating you.
Pow!
And pulls out a gun and shoots him point blank. As you know, Secret Service Ricks.
Secret Service Rick
are trying to clear the way, and they tase him and take him down.
And campaign manager Morty does his best impression of "Don't tase me, bro."
Yes, as he goes straight.
I don't know if anyone caught that little reference. Though I'm like, Don't taste me, bro.
Oh, it's one of my favorite running lines. Don't taste me, bro.
Ah! Ah! Okay,
But
that's getting too dark for us. Let's keep going.
that's fair. But this is kind of where all the other stories kind of come to a head. Um, we see campaign manager Morty get thrown into a jail of sorts, where the two security ricks basically tell him, like, yeah, you're going to be here for a while. And he tries to reason with them that he had to kill him, that Morty wasn't what he seemed. They are essentially like, no, Morty seems like a president. And this is when we find out that candidate Morty is now President Morty. And, as campaign manager Morty is trying to plead with them, they close the door on him and release him out of the airlock.
Well, they didn't close the door on him. They just released the airlock.
Yeah.
In which they both decided to use their best puns.
Oh
my goodness.
But yes, we catch up to now President Morty, in his cabal of sorts, we'll get to who they are here in a sec. But he's getting his hair cut by a Rick while he's waiting for this meeting to commence.
Yes.
And in walks in Rick D. Sanchez III from, the aforementioned Simple Rick's factory, who apologizes for being late, but states that he had an emergency at work. But and now that he's there, this meeting can commence.
What were you saying again, Garmic District Rick?
Yeah. This, I feel like this scene has been done so many times in movies that I don't know if there's any one reference that can be used to describe it.
But I love it, though.
Oh, yeah. But the scene that it reminded me of was 1989 Batman, when the Joker comes back to the boardroom.
That is a good one.
Yes. And is basically explaining to everyone what the new plan will be, much to the chagrin of the current mob boss.
But Duke, the people are screaming in my ears and on the chat. Do he look like a man with a plan?
Oh, well, I know who did have a plan, but getting to that one. Basically, Garment District Rick lays out that, even when the council was in control, they weren't really in control because this cabal of essentially district leaders have been the ones running the Citadel in secret.
Yep.
They said
even before the Council of Ricks, we ran the Citadel, and will continue to do so because of the president.
Yes. It, quote, end quote, it doesn't matter who sits in that chair, a Rick, a Morty, hell, even a Jerry.
Yep.
We've been running the Citadel and will continue to do so. Yeah. I was like, man, that's, okay. Cool. Obviously, that does not jive well with, President Morty, who basically asks who else at the table feels that way. Probably about 80% of the members raise their hands, to which President Morty snaps his fingers and security Ricks take them all out. Minus the, Steve Jobs for and the, what I can only describe as possibly Bono Rick. I don't know.
Yep. Actually, they did call him a Steve Jobs Rick.
Yeah.
They did call him a Steve Jobs Rick, so that's confirmed.
Yeah.
And the Rick Sanchez's for the newscast was uh, Rick D716 and
Yes.
D716B. And there was a third one, D17C.
And 716C.
Yep.
Yes. Each one more disfigured than the first.
Yes.
Which was just hilarious to me. Especially as they never explain why. But, you know, whatever. Such is the nature of the show.
Wrong at that. We ain't mad at that.
You know. And this is basically where the other shoe drops. As, you know, security Ricks are dragging these bodies out of the conference room. And President Morty gets up to, you know, make his grand speech, or lack thereof.
Yes. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I gotta do it fully. We gotta say it fully.
Yes, the now infamous speech.
And literally probably the one speech that I've repeated all day. Yesterday and today.
Yes.
This seems like a good time for a drink. And a cold, calculated speech with sinister overtone. A speech about politics, about order, brotherhood, power. But speeches are for campaigning. Now is the time for action. Doom.
Yes.
Nah! And the internet took off. The internet absolutely crashed.
That is what officially broke the internet as soon as the music dropped. It's like, huh, okay, yeah. So I just had this nagging gut feeling the whole episode. I was like, something's off with this dude. And sure enough, we've been talking about this all season. And finally, he is back. The return of Evil Morty in grand fashion.
Not only that, but he is in power.
Yes. He has been on the Citadel apparently this whole time, studying and waiting for his moment, and Rick provided that moment when he destroyed the Citadel and killed the Council.
Yep.
And now was his time to rise to power like the little Antichrist that he is.
So that's our episode recap.
Well, and actually, hold on, because we never actually talk about what happens with our OG Rick and Morty.
137 OGs.
You know, the one that went off to Atlantis in all actuality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and apparently Morty ended up getting laid by a mermaid.
Sorry, Jessica.
Yeah. Wonder if that'll come back.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
There's only 2 episodes left of the season, so you know.
Yes, which actually brings up a good point about the episode entitled The Morty-Turian Candidate, where Rick has to confront the president. And we saw this exact tagline for the episode, and we were like, oh, I'm thinking maybe the President of the United States, you know, we met him before, maybe he'll come back as a returning character. You know, maybe it'll be the president of some other, you know, the president of the Galactic Federation. No, I'm pretty sure it will be Evil Morty now that he is president of the Citadel.
So here's where they're going to attempt to make people lose their minds before this episode. They are bringing back Keith David, yes, the Keith David, to reprise his role as the President of the United States.
You know, because why not?
Exactly. So, you know, there's so many theories. We're going to see if we can get ourselves our own theories in here. There's a lot to talk about.
Dude,
let's start off with the simple question. The 2 hot
okay.
questions. The first one, is this the best episode of season 3, sir?
Personal opinion, yes. You know, Cop Rick and Morty gave us action. Our little Stand By Me montage or love note gave us a nice peek into the infinite minds of Morty. We also got some pretty good social commentary. We got the return of Evil Morty, which in and of itself was just awesome. Like if it had just been the show was 15 seconds long and they just showed the last 15 seconds, I'd have been down. I'd have been like, oh, okay, at least it's the second best episode of the season. But the episode in its entirety most definitely pushed it over for me. What about you, sir?
Oh, it's the best episode of the season. Like, it topped.
Hands down.
Yeah, it topped our previous top 5. Like, it did.
It demolished it.
Yes. Like, anyone who says otherwise, explain to us how. Explain to us how.
I would love to see that.
Like,
I'm
trying to look at it as an analyst, and I can't even fathom a reason why this is not number 1 in season 3. Although, the sidebar question was, is this the best episode of the series? Sir Duke, the people await your answer.
Man, that's a hard one.
He's about to trigger.
That is
a
a hard one.
He's about to trigger.
Yeah, I know, right?
Everyone.
If I had to go with this off the top of my head, I would say yes. However, if I was to go back and watch the series in its entirety, I think there might still be 1 or 2 in there that would get me. Like, I think it might get unseated. But again, off the top of my head, right now, I'm going to say yes.
Oh, you don't even need to ask me that question. I mean, it topped the ending of season 2. And we still got 3 more episodes left, so.
Which will be 3 very probing episodes.
Absolutely.
We already know that next week's is going to be a barn burner, with Morty finding out that he has asked Rick to remove memories before, and will now get to see all of said removed memories. The episode after that, we learn about Beth and her past.
Yep. And
the episode after that is the finale. So, like, I feel like this one dropped at the perfect time, because the stakes only get higher from here.
Yes. Which leads to the second hot topic question. Was this episode worth 2 weeks to wait?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Honestly, like, if this had been the season opener after a year and a half, I probably would have died. Like, I just would have passed out with a smile on my face and just, I'd have been good. All was right with life, and I'm done. Obviously, we needed everything up until now to get to this point. But, yes. You know, I still very much so enjoyed it, and you know, it was well worth the wait. It was. I'm glad we only had to wait 2 weeks.
I am completely enamored with this episode. I felt in my heart of hearts that this episode was going to be well worth the 2 weeks. We could have waited a month for this episode and be so satisfied with what we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, we should be happy that we only waited an extra week. Like, they delivered.
And that is exactly why I will not jinx it.
Oh no, don't. You know, Justin, don't listen to us, please. Please.
But I actually have one here for you, which is IndieWire's rankings of the. Actually, they have every episode ranked from worst to best, but I'm just going to run through the top 10. All right? And this one is actually going to trigger people.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Number 10, Rest in Ricklantis. season 3, episode 6 from last week came in at number 10.
So this
Think
is
about
top
that.
10?
Yep. This is just the top 10.
Okay.
Because I feel like if I were to go to the whole thing, 1, it would be too long, and 2, it would most definitely trigger people. So if your favorite episode isn't in here, it's because it didn't crack the top 10.
Of course. And this is, this one place's
Right.
personal opinion.
But
this isn't our opinions, and we don't reflect these rankings whatsoever.
No. But I am using it as a baseline because this was compiled from a poll that they took.
Yes.
So it's not even necessarily opinion per se, unless you count the sample group as an opinion. Okay. So an opinion poll. There we go.
So back to the list. Number 10, you said, is Rest and Rick's Laxation.
Yep.
All right. Let's keep going.
Which, kind of triggered me a little bit, but whatever.
Well, I thought number 9. The whole list first.
All right. Number 9, Rixie Business. Last episode of season 1.
Okay.
Number 8, Rixie Minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of the first interdimensional cable.
Yep.
Number 7, Morty Night Run. With K. Michael Chromopoulos.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy. Here we go. And number 6, The Ricks Must Be Crazy from season 2.
Okay. That's the one where he left Summer in the car and told the car to keep Summer safe, and some crazy stuff was happening the whole episode, and the whole
goes to the
inner
quantum
dimensions
burst
and ultra dimensions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 5, and this is a doozy. Me Seeks and Destroy.
Me Seeks and Destroy is a top 5 episode.
Yes.
It's
number 4.
You can't get mad at that.
Yeah. Number 4, Lawnmower Dog.
That's episode 2 of the first season. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Keep going.
Number 3, the Ricklantis Mixup.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Number 2.
I can already see people starting to get triggered in the chat right now.
I shot fair warning. Number 2, Rick Potion number 9.
Okay. The ending for that one was real dark, but yes.
Yes. And number 1, Total Recall.
This is a fair list. If you think about the content of the episode instead of the episode as a whole, it's a fair list. I'm not saying it's right, but it's a fair list. But they're wrong.
I feel like the top 5 were deserving. I probably would have bumped a few of them out, but I can see where they would fall into that.
Okay, so
let's
10
explore
through
that 6.
Let's explore that then. Let's revise the top 10 according to the Duke, and let's get his top 10 episodes from the lowest, number 10, to the highest. Or do you want to do it the opposite way?
Yeah, let's go the opposite way.
Okay,
because it'll be a lot easier. Yeah, number 1 would have to be the Ricklantis Mixup right now, and it could just be because it's fresh. Well, but I feel like it's gonna stick for a while.
It really has millions of views on YouTube.
Yeah,
and that was within the first 6 hours. Like when I woke up the next day for work, and I checked YouTube, it was already up to 1 million views.
And that's fair. Number 2 would be Me Seeks and Destroy.
I'm surprised you didn't put and I think what might be number 3 as number 2, but go ahead.
Number 3, I was gonna do Total Recall.
Okay, that was not the one I was thinking of. Okay.
Aha! I freaking loved that episode. I loved everything about it.
It was a very good
Sleepy
episode.
Gary to Mrs. Refrigerator.
Yes. Don't forget Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Yes. And how couldn't we
Ooh-wee.
forget?
Beth, why would you do this?
Oh.
In an emergency, my wife shot. Well, my wife shot a close family
A
friend.
close family friend. Number 4, rest and relaxation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which that
My
was the
little
one I thought was going
psycho.
to be number 3.
Yeah, I could see that. Um, Number 5 would probably be autoerotic assimilation.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 6 to me would be the Ricks Must Be Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Number 7, Pickle Rick. Yeah,
I'm
Pickle
surprised
Rick.
you didn't put Pickle Rick in the top 5. Because you
And
spoke so highly of it. You defended Pickle Rick so much. What?
oh yeah,
2 weeks ago,
oh
in
yeah.
fact.
And if I had to, I would probably say that Pickle Rick probably is tied for 5, but one has to edge out the other. And
But he
if
kind of
I'm
went.
going on,
He dropped 2 instead of being number 6.
and that is very very fair. Um, Going on content alone, I put autoerotic assimilation above Pickle Rick only because I felt like it was a deeper view into Rick's psyche and kind of what makes him tick. Um, you know, his whole tryst with Unity and the wounds that it
Unity.
opened up. Yeah, the wounds that it opened up were just like, I don't know. I feel like it is things that anyone who has ever been dumped will definitely understand, but it takes on a whole new field of depth dealing with Rick and the fact that his catchphrase is "Help me, I'm in great pain." And we kind of see exactly where that comes from in this episode as you were self-medicating and indulging the entire episode to forget
Yes.
your worries. So, again, content alone, it got edged out. We can still tie it for 5, but I'm going to put it at 6. All right.
So you're number 8.
Number 7. Remember Pickle Rick number 6?
You had Pickle Rick number 7.
My bad.
That's what I said. How can you push it down 2?
That's fair.
Don't worry, we got you. Don't worry
S-
about it. Chris is actually having your back right now.
He better.
And that's just because Steven hasn't come into the office yet.
I'm just a dude. Fear is a wonderful motivator. But number 7
8.
or 8, sorry,
You
would
keep
be
trying
the
to
Whirly
add more
Dirly
in there.
conspiracy. I know, right? Whirly Dirly conspiracy
Mm-hmm.
is definitely number 8. I feel like the Wedding Squanchers should be number 9. And
Number 10. Who's gonna crack that top 10?
going on content, I'd probably have to say Rick Shank Redemption.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
So comparing your list to the list from the article, because Chris was able to hold it down for me. Looks like you had episodes, but you didn't have Rixie minutes.
True. I love all the interdimensional cable episodes, but again, they're just meant to be fun throwaways, you know, little filler episodes. Which is why we're not having one this season.
Yes. which they don't need.
Right.
It's not.
No room for it.
Nope. You didn't have Woody Night Run.
Mm-hmm.
Last one is Where Are My Testicles, Summer? Where Are My Testicles, Summer?
I had them, and they're gone.
Where did you put them? That's a very intense line of questioning, Snuffles. Do not call me Snuffles. Ah!
Call me my slave name.
Call me Snowball because my fur is white like
and fluffy.
I'm okay with that list. Like either list is fine. I mean, so if you had to choose, I guess those three. Let's say you didn't have. Let's say you had to choose between the three to be in your top 10. Let's just say we took away your top 10 right now. We had those three left. Of those three, which of the three would you choose to be in your top 10? Or I guess you could say which one would be number 11.
We'll rattle them off one more time.
Lawnmower Dog. Morty Night Run and Rixie Minutes.
Lawnmower Dog, Morty Night Run, Rixie Minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, Snuffles is another one I'm waiting to come back. But, you know, going back to the conspiracy theory board, or as we will call it, just the theory board.
The conspiracy board?
The what?
The conspiracy board?
Yeah, there we go. You know, what do you think will be the setup for the season's finale, given this episode and all previous episodes in the season?
It's hard to tell.
Well, man, we only got 3 left. Let's start forming some opinions here, some viewpoints, some insights.
I stand by you.
Give me the reads.
I stand by you, not stand by me. Where Rick and Eve and Morty will have a confrontation at the last episode. That has to happen. My fear is they might make it be like a quick 1-minute thing, like an end credit scene. That's going to like piss off everyone, but get everyone hyped about season 4. Like they don't have to do it, but it's good if they do it. And I'm only saying this because they're bringing back Keith David as the U.S. president. Like, I have to take that into account.
And that's fair. You know, that could be another little moment of misdirection there. That's fair.
But we haven't even seen hide or hair of Tabby and Phoenix.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going with this.
So for all we know, the last episode could still be dealing with the U.S. president and a potential takeover with Tammy and Phoenix person. Because they have to have a confrontation.
This is true. But here is what I am throwing out there as my prediction. All right. We know that the next 2 episodes will feature primarily family members. Mm-hmm. So even if we see these other characters, they'll probably be one-offs, or it'll be a deeper insight into the character themselves and not a physical appearance. So I feel like everything from this episode on is going to pick up and come to a head in the last episode. I feel like these next 2 will finish driving the stake into the Sanchez family and drive them all apart.
I think right up until that still needs to happen this season.
Right. Well, and again, anytime that you remember something that you've suppressed, or in Morty's case, chosen to forget, it always has negative ramifications.
Yes.
Like, always. That is movie writing 101. Um, so I don't feel like Morty or Beth exploring their memories or their past is going to be any good for anyone in this family.
No.
So yeah, I feel like going into the finale that they are going to be a family divided, and that whatever confrontation Rick is presented with may end up being the catalyst to bring them all together. I feel like that confrontation will initially be Evil Morty. He, for whatever reason, has an axe to grind with Rick, and there are a few theories on that. Maybe that's his original Rick, or, you know, seeing as how Morty has had memories erased, maybe Rick wasn't gone all this time. Maybe he was there the whole time, hence why he has memories of baby Morty, and he has just wiped the family's memory to essentially start over with a clean slate.
Which
Maybe he has...
highly possible.
Right. Maybe he has done something so terrible he doesn't want the family to remember it. But I do think that it will initially begin with Evil Morty as he sees his plans coming into fruition. And, you know, the rickiest Rick of all has to go. He was the one that took down the Citadel. He is obviously a dangerous Rick. Whether Morty's plan is coming after him directly or whether just getting rid of him will bring on his greater plan doesn't really matter. He's got to go. So I feel like he will be the main antagonist in the episode, but I feel like Tammy and Bird Person will get in the way of that. And because of that, one or both of them have got to go, which will be the catalyst to bring the Sanchez family and perhaps even Jerry together to confront Evil Morty. Although I don't feel like it will be done in that episode alone. I feel like just like with the Wedding Squanchers and Rick Shank Redemption, the story will spill over into the next season.
Yep. I just can't wait for the season finale, man. And all else, you know, everything that we're all talking about, like, end of the day, this finale's gonna be absolutely bananas.
That it will be.
Whether it's the, you know, final or actual confrontation between the Rickiest Rick versus the Mortiest of Mortys.
Well, I don't know, because we're still getting some very conflicting... Like, we know what makes a Rick a Rick.
Yes.
We have explored that over and over again. We have only scratched at what makes a Morty a Morty.
Yes, because he is like, as Batman once taught us, like an onion. He has many layers.
This is true. And it still remains a question of, if Morty continues on the path that he's on with Rick, how long will it take until he's either Rick himself or until he's an evil Morty?
Yep.
Because it seems to be the only two sides of the coin that spell a future for him. He's obviously not going to be Jerry. He has too much Rick in him for that.
Nope. Well, which is why he said, that's why Rick told Jerry, you know, that's why you sat there and administered 20 cc's of
stupidity into my daughter. Yeah. Just
well,
trust and believe. Like, my daughter starts dating, I am using that. 20 cc's of liquid dream killer. Yeah.
I would like to be there. I mean, I thought we was going to do the whole Bad Boys thing, but I think that works too.
Oh yeah, no. Like, I'm getting the band back together. All the Spec Op guys. We're just going to be like out in the trees and wait until he gets out the car and just ambush him and basically go over the rules of engagement.
Probably shouldn't say that live right now.
I mean, look, I got a good 10, 13, 30 years, you know, whatever, left to go ahead and get this all together.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and fortunately for me, by that point in time, thank you, Google, tracking systems will be much more advanced
and much more available to the public.
This is true.
And much more humane.
Yeah. So, I'm like, oh no, I see some body temperatures rising. Let me go ahead and make a quick phone call, pop up a hologram or whatever new thing is out by then. Yeah, it'll be fun times.
I could so see you sitting there trolling your family, trolling your kids.
Yeah.
With just straight up holograms. Daddy, like, come here. And then they jump at you and they just smack straight into a wall. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
It's a wall, you idiots.
Like, wow, that did not work out how you thought it would, did it? Maybe next time you should check someone to see if they're solid.
That's why you.
I would be that person.
Nope, can't say that one. Sorry, Helen. I'm not gonna say that one.
Oh, Professor.
Anything else you want to talk about with this episode? What series so far? How it's heading?
Like I said, I was amazed at the number of Easter eggs they were able to pack into this. I feel like it was more than the Total Recall episode.
Yes.
Like, not all at once. It wasn't sensory overload, but it was every 2-3 seconds there was another reference.
Yes.
Whether it was in the story or whether it was in the background. Did not matter.
Yeah,
we saw.
Did you actually see the "Get Swifty" sign in the
I did.
Crib? And about the whole crack house trope, but there's always a.
Yeah. Why is there a crib in here? I don't know. There just always is. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, there were so many. And before the season came out, there were a lot of rumors about the creators and the writing staff having arguments as to how they were going to put together the first episode. Because the season was supposed to initially come out in January. Or, I'm sorry, no, in November of 2016. It got pushed back to January. Then it got pushed back again to February.
Yep.
Then it got pushed back again. So I feel like in all of this time, I'm not saying that the rumors weren't true, but I'm saying that whatever internal struggles were going on, they seemed to get over it very quickly. And they put a lot of focus into the writing, the story, and the animation of this season. Because so far, every single episode has been a bang out. There hasn't been one yet that I'm just like, I could take it or leave it.
And maybe, I don't know if it's so much as them arguing about what needs to go in the story. I think it was probably stuff that they're arguing about what they should leave out of the story.
And that's fair.
Because, and you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that every single episode could have more stuff added to it. To add, either a deeper dimension or a brand new dimension.
And that's fair. And that is definitely one thing that Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland had an interview a few weeks ago, right after the Pickle Rick episode, where they they kind of had a quick Q&A with a couple of fans, and one of the questions that was asked was, will we see Rick and Morty traveling to more dimensions in this season like we have in seasons past? And they said that they were very vague because, again, you're mid-season, or not even mid-season at that point. But they were in the midst of the season, so they didn't want to give anything away. But they just said that this season will focus on the Sanchez family, and that the family will go to places that they haven't been before. If you notice, so far in the season, the only episode that we really got a clear shot of, true dimension hopping was in, now I can't remember it, but the second episode of the season.
Yes. Yes.
The Mad Max episode.
Yep.
Yes. Rick Massing the Stone. There we go.
There we go.
But that was the only episode so far where we have gone to a completely different dimension. Other than that, the only time we've seen portals being used is to go to a different location.
Yes.
So, you know, I hope that because we didn't get a whole lot of dimension hopping this season, that the next season will probably be full of dimension hopping. Mm-hmm. Especially as whatever ends up transpiring in the season will probably end up putting Rick on the run.
Yes.
Either physically or emotionally.
Did you also notice, too, that the only person who hasn't left the Earth yet is Beth?
Yes. Which even Jerry's had two. Yep. 2 adventures. Actually, no, I'll take that back. 3. The Jerry daycare, and to that extent, Beth has left Earth in both the wedding squanchers and the therapy. Well, yeah. This season, she's the only one. Maybe, once again, we'll get more into Beth's past in the episode after next, but
yep. Or if they decide to service again, which now it's putting everyone on their toes now. But it's really hard to do that more than once.
Well, they've done it twice this season.
What was it? The
April Fool's episode. No. And neither would this. Because you still have next week's episode.
Yep.
Before we get to the ABCs of Beth.
Yep.
So we've gotten played twice now this season. And
the first time, no one believed it.
That was the best part. Like, it was a true April Fool's joke.
Well,
not even a joke.
Gotcha. Just kidding. We're actually being really serious right now.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to give Google a run for their money.
Like, Google, you think you're so smart? So watch this.
The only thing that would have been better if they released the entire episode via Snapchat.
Well, remember they used to release them on
Instagram.
Instagram,
yep. In like 15-second shots. That was so annoying, but so worth it. Because they would release them early on Instagram.
Yep.
But
I'm okay with these kind of reveals, though. I'm okay with these kind of reveals. Like, it kept it fresh. It got everyone, it got everything buzzing. It had everyone talking about it. And then once it officially began in July, people couldn't get away from their TVs. They knew exactly what to look forward to.
Well, this is true.
I mean, I guess the one thing that I really need to talk about, which we haven't talked about at all, and I know we need to. The Adult Swim bump after, I believe it was Whirling Dervish. And they put Game of Thrones writer, and they put the timeline. Can we talk about
2011 to 2016.
Like, it's confirmed that it was not the Rick and Morty staff who did that. That was Adult Swim.
Right. But it was in perfect Adult Swim fashion for them to do it, but it was also in poor taste for the company that represents Rick and Morty. Especially because they had just had a Game of Thrones throwaway joke during the episode that essentially criticized the Game of Thrones writing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the crux of the misunderstanding.
I'm saying it lightly.
Yeah, because the internet went nuts. And, rightly so. I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan, but I can appreciate the show for what it is. And listening to friends of mine that are Game of Thrones fans, it's kind of like
themselves fans.
Yes, well, in daylight. But they were a little disappointed in this season, saying that it felt rushed. It was not at all what they were expecting for the grand return and all the spectacle that was made about it. So I think that was the other thing that kind of crushed them. It's like when you bring up the 97 Batman and I get extremely butthurt about it. Same deal. So, it's just one of those things where everybody knows it, no one likes to admit it. And that's what made the whole thing so bad. But I do also think that if you were going to release a bump, and I'm looking at you here, Dolson, but if you were going to release a bump, especially when it has ties to the show that it immediately precedes, you should probably have a little bit of common courtesy and go ahead and give that show a little bit of a heads up when you do it. Like, that's just common courtesy. Don't just throw the bump out there and not tell anyone, because that then forced the creators of the show to have to come out and kind of disavow the bump.
Yes, basically do damage control, because people who are fans of the show is gonna have a stick up their bum and be like, "Oh, you're gonna do that? Like, I like this show, but I don't like it that much."
And that's the kind of stuff that gets you moved to Comedy Central. Like, don't do that.
No, don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. No. What was what's her name from Matrix? She was like,
Trinity.
Not like this. Look up. Not like this. God dang you, Cypher!
Oh,
don't
man.
hate me, Trinity. You knew I had to throw that one in there. I had to.
Yeah. I saw it coming and I still didn't duck.
No. Sometimes you have to be like Conor McGregor and just take it in the face. You're only getting a couple $1 million anyway, so.
I'm just saying, like, whatever you break, I can fix with that.
What's a couple of love taps?
Yeah. Oh, Connor. But yeah, so that was pretty much so far the season in recap.
Yeah. Looking forward to the next episode.
That I am. I am so super curious as to what memories Morty is going to recover.
It's going to be crazy. I actually want to see.
Well,
I want to see if this is going to build that deeper wedge into the relationship of Rick and Morty. Like, you keep mentioning how it's going to drive, like, towards the end of the season, a wedge is going to get driven that's going to divide the Sanchez family even further. But I think this is, like, in my opinion, I think the family takes, so we're talking about Beth, Summer, and Jerry. Even though they all look at Rick in such high regards, I think they take their cues off of Morty.
Yes, Morty is definitely the beta of the family.
Yes.
Especially in this season. He's had to step up and kind of be the adult in a lot of situations.
See, that's why I told Rick to take Dad out on an adventure so I could not deal with it today.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, Mom, are those horse hooves? Like, yeah. Which is actually a callback to, what was it, season 1, of Beth walking in with her cup of coffee and questioning what Jerry was doing.
Yep.
Yeah. So we kind of got a little bit of role reversal there. But I think that the episode is going to play out with Rick kind of supervising this memory recall and showing him either happy memories or memories that weren't that bad. And then Morty taking it upon himself to continue digging because, he has no reason to think that Grandpa would selectively pick these memories.
Oh, no,
and,
of course not.
Of course stumbles upon the bombshell that was teased in the overview.
Yes.
So I think that's how it will end up playing out.
There's already screenshots out there showing them being chased in a multi-dimensional staircase. Famous painting.
Yeah.
But,
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, is where Morty stares into the tortoise's eyes. Tortoise, not turtle, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait. Apparently, this is going to be the... according to one article, I believe it was Heavy.com, this will be the interdimensional episode.
Yes, well, that was actually out of Rick's mouth in the promo.
Yes.
We're doing this instead of interdimensional cable.
Yes.
So, they're taking what would have been a throwaway episode and giving it some form of substance.
I just like the fact that they added a new spin. Like, kudos to that.
How so?
They could have easily just made another everyone just lounging on the couch watching stuff. Which it'll be entertaining by itself, but there's always gonna be naysayers gonna be like, it's the same old thing, it's the same old thing. Like them doing it based off of Morty's memory now, that is something new. Like we don't know what's gonna happen.
That is.
Like it's gonna talk about adventures that they had that we didn't even get to see.
Very true. And I mean that we already know that happens a lot. A lot of times the episode will kick off with them coming back from an adventure.
Yes.
Or, like Rest and Relaxation showed us, they had just been going nonstop, even though we'd only seen a handful of their collected adventures. So, yeah, it will be it will be interesting.
Hopefully they'll give us some light about that last mission before
they go
and get themselves detoxed.
Probably not.
That would be sick. That
probably not. I mean, that one they've already kind of told us exactly what the mission was or what the adventure was, yes. Why they were doing it. Like I feel like they're just going to skip that one in lieu of something fresh that we have not seen before.
Hilarious. Oh, goodness. But I have nothing else about this episode, sir. Anything else you want to tell the people?
We are so close to the Funko Pops for all of you mini collectors out there who want more chances to win Rick and Morty Funko Pops. It is just within arm's reach if Steve will stop missing the one and just carry it. We can make this happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, Steve is about to turn into Chris. at least in the eyes of the.
Steve conveniently called out sick tonight, so yeah, we'll pick up the conversation that he and I had later.
He what it was. He knew exactly what it was.
I bet he did.
But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our show. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell icon to join our notification squad. As always, you can follow us on Facebook. Just search for Debates Among Friends. You can follow us on Twitter. Search Debates Among Friends or do @Debates Among Friends. We do this every single Tuesday for the rest of this season. Afterwards, we're probably going to talk about some comics, video games, which, FYI everyone, today is video game day. So if you have a favorite video game, be sure to post that out there on Twitter sphere or and show your appreciation. I mean, we've been playing these games since we were kids. And they only got better for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But we have a special request for our ending track tonight. The Duke said, "I want this song, Professor. Make this song happen." So I told Chris that, and Chris was managed to get the song. It was hard to get it, but he got his hands on it. Tonight,
yeah. It was a life or death situation.
It was a life or death situation. Tonight's track is by Chaos, featuring Justin Rowland himself, and the title is Terry Fodes. Once again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I am the Professor John Gotti.
And I am the Duke.
And be sure to catch us every single Tuesday and catch us tomorrow night for our weekly Debates Among Friends episode. We will have Senor Octubre joining us to give us some baseball gems. And until then, we'll catch you again soon. In love.
Hey, did you ever want to hold a Terry fold? I got one right here. Grab my Terry flap, squeeze it, grab it, squeeze and tug on my Terry flap. Hey, I want to take you to the Terry fold dance. Want to come with me? You can grab my holy folds, squeeze them tight. You son of a bitch, suck my holy flappy folds. Lick my flappy foldy holds. My Terry flaps in your mouth. Suck my flaps, you piece of shit. Hey, did you ever want to hold a Terry fold? I got one right here. Grab my Terry flap, squeeze it, grab it, squeeze and tug on my Terry flap. Hey, I want to take you to the Terry fold dance. Want to come with me? You can grab my holy folds, squeeze them tight. You son of a bitch, suck my holy flappy folds. Lick my flappy foldy holds. My Terry flaps in your mouth. Suck my flaps, you piece of shit.
Amazon Prime or Netflix.